Welcome to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast. We believe life is about how we react. Hey, welcome back to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast. My name is Sean, and I'm so glad to be back and to be starting another season today. Kyle, are you just as glad and happy and excited as I am? Or
yeah, dude,
okay.
Season 15.
Yeah, we've been at it for a minute.
We've been doing this for 10 years.
Right?
What?
Yeah, we are entering our 10th year, or I think that's how it works. Yeah, we just celebrated 9 years, so we're in our 10th year.
Okay.
That's insane to me. Even more insane is I think about, wow, 10 years and you only have 15 seasons. But I also had to remind myself that the first 100 episodes was season 1. We didn't really start the season thing until several years into it. But friends, thanks for being here today. Thanks for listening and being a part of our journey for 10 years now. One thing I've thought about, Kyle, going at it for 10 years, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and of course, we all know and follow, pop music or whatever, just artists, right? So there's, I've heard people call Podcast Nation as kind of their listener base, or maybe they have nicknames. You've shared a couple. I want to say, what's the armchair quarterback? What I forget his name.
Armchair expert.
Couchies,
right?
Yeah, something. Sure, they all
or cherries. Cherries.
There's a nickname, it seems, for everybody, and of course, I think Taylor Swift. Her fans are known as Swifties. If I go back 20 years, Justin Bieber was popular. I mean, he's still cool, but when he was younger and all the rage, his fans were called Beliebers. So it's just,
that's right.
man, we need a name. So I thought I'd throw it out to listeners. There's, a handful. I use AI to help generate a list. And I decided I would lean on maybe you first, because you haven't heard these or seen these. And we'd get a gut reaction from some listeners, either in comments or email or whatever you want. So I'll start with the ones I hate. Deuterinos. What?
Yeah, no, that doesn't work.
Right? Very simply put, they were like, or AI suggested dudes and dudettes. Okay. But I'll be honest with you. Okay, not bad, but I feel like that would have been cool back in the 60s. But beyond that, it really reminds me of Tiger King. Did you ever get into that or watch it?
I watched it a little bit during the pandemic.
Yeah, same. So I don't remember her name or the details, but whenever the female version of the Tiger King or whatever, when she would make her videos, she always started with something like, "Hey there, dudes and dudettes." Maybe not those words, but it was something like that.
Yeah.
So that's what it reminds me of, and I don't love it. She was annoying. I want to say character, but I guess real life. What did you say?
Deuterino reminds me of The Big Lebowski.
Oh yeah,
but that's not a terrible reference, but I don't think it's fitting
and not funny. All right, the most simple, and I thought, okay, maybe the safest is just the 2DDers.
All right,
so it's just use the 2DD acronym, if you will. Add ERS
for people who listen to 2DD.
Yeah.
All right.
Of course, it also threw out some, hey, just call them the 2DD listeners. And I'm like, that's dumb.
So first of all, does 2DD, is that, bring to mind double D? And is that a bad thing? I don't know.
I think I'm I'm so far removed from the double D context that it doesn't enter my mind. But
okay, that's fair.
I don't know. I can't say I'm not for sure, but in our 10 years, I
Yeah,
don't
that's
feel
true.
like everybody has ever made a comment, directly or indirectly, about some other reference. So
okay.
I don't know. It may not. Yeah, it may not be a thing.
So the best we have is 2DDers.
Pretty much.
I mean, okay.
Dude fam, the Dudes and Company. I don't like it.
What about there's this podcast called Entrepreneur on Fire, and they call them Fire Nation. What do you think about 2DD Nation?
So that's one of it's Dude Nation or 2DD Nation. Dude Squad is another one. I prefer Dude Squad over using the word nation. I don't know why. But when I hear people say, "Oh, Podcast Nation" or Fire Nation or whatever, I don't know why I don't love it. But what do you think of Dude Squad?
Yeah, let's do it.
I like Dude Squad over 2DDers.
Yep.
Okay, so listeners, you have all of those options, and you can even throw out some more, but we're leaning toward Dude Squad. How do you feel about that? We're a couple of weeks away from our first cruise with the Rare at Sea. Are you excited?
Yeah. Am I excited?
Yeah, or are you just like, okay, I'll be there? No, I feel like, to an extent, I feel like maybe you're just going because you have to.
No, I am super excited because it is freaking cold here right now. There have been multiple mornings in the last week that I wake up and it's 25 degrees outside. And I cannot wait to get into the sun down in the Bahamas.
Yeah, we're not that far away. I'm pumped.
And I've seen a few names on the list, and I can't wait to hang out with people I've known for a long time and some brand new friends that I know we're going to get along great, because that's how it works. You understand each other in a different way when you have FA or a rare disease, any rare disease, really.
I'm with you. It's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be awesome.
So have you booked everything you need, flights and hotel and stuff, or are you still working on that?
No, I think I've booked all the stuff. I just haven't done anything like you said about excursions or drink package or anything like that.
All right, Kyle, let's move this along. Something that stuck out to me, especially with moving over the last season, is I've recognized that there are times where I'm really angry and frustrated with life. And there are also times I'm really grateful and love life. And sometimes those can be hard to allow them to coexist.
Yep.
It's okay to be grateful and mad at the same time. You can be both.
Yeah, it's not easy to do. To hold both of those things in your head, in your heart, right? But it's possible, because if you think about it, you are both of those things at the same time. So clearly it is possible, even though they're hard to hold.
Yeah. We're attempting to give permission to hold both as true at the same time. So, Kyle, I want to kick it off with a question for you. When do you feel pressure to perform gratitude? And don't say our episodes, because everybody knows we end with the note of gratitude. But when do you feel the pressure to perform for the sake of other people?
Well, first of all, I do feel very grateful for a lot of things, right? Like the way I was raised, my family, my friends, just that I was born into the light that I have.
Yeah.
And, I realize that not everyone has the same situation, and
Sure.
I'm privileged in a lot of ways. And I think we talked about this a lot on the podcast is that, just within our FA community, there's such a diversity of not only disease and
Yeah.
progression, but backgrounds and where people are from and economic situations and all that. So there's so much diversity. And when you talk about pressure to perform gratitude, I feel it when I'm at something like the FA symposium,
Mm.
when there's a huge spectrum of different people from different backgrounds and different levels of progression. And maybe it's pressure I put on myself, because I need to, I feel the need to express my gratitude and recognize my privilege because not everyone's in that situation.
Sure.
So
Okay.
when I'm around the community, I think is the answer.
Okay. I would echo that, but also for me, when I'm around anybody that's
Mhm.
looking to me for inspiration, because
Okay.
when I think perform gratitude, that means I feel the need to be grateful and
Mhm.
or show gratitude no matter what. And the reality of it is there are times I'm not in the mood to be grateful, right?
Yeah.
But if I know people are looking at me or leaning on me for a bit of, I don't know, stability in that world,
Yep.
then I don't want to express my frustration or my anger. So I might, pretend or not even pretend, but be performative with my gratitude.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's not so much expressing what you feel, but sometimes it's projecting and expressing and performing even though you don't feel that way, right?
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Sean, what's something you're genuinely grateful for, but you resent the cost of?
Ooh.
Like the
Oh,
emotional
man.
cost or the social
Yeah,
cost or
sure.
yeah.
All of it. The thing that comes immediately to mind, I'm really genuinely grateful that years ago I fell and broke my femur and was able to
Mhm,
work through the process to get a wheelchair before it was necessary, because that
mhm,
took a long time. Um, but of course that cost me that emotional, um realization that this is gonna be my life one day. Um, so it wasn't fun. I would go back and change it. I feel like that is just one thing that propelled uh, more need for a mobility aid. Um, so I'm grateful in a sense that it happened, but I'm still kind of frustrated that I did. Another thing that comes to mind is living alone. I'm really grateful to have my own space, but I'm really
mhm.
frustrated that I can't do it all myself. That I need help here and there. That even just taking my garbage out is an exhausting chore that I really have to mentally navigate. I can't just throw slippers on real quick and run out to the dumpster, right? Like, it takes a little more thought to get things
Yeah.
done. Hang a picture on a wall. Dude, I hung one thing myself. I put a little nail hammer and it was one little thing, and that probably took me 15 minutes. And I just
Yeah.
thought to myself, it's not worth it to me. I kept
And
hitting my finger. It was just
yeah, yeah.
it was annoying. So I'm like, I don't even want to do this.
Are there holes in the wall hidden by the picture?
So it wasn't like I was all over the place. It was just I
Yeah.
couldn't. I couldn't
Quite.
get the nail in, right? I kept
Yeah.
hitting around the nail, and I'm like, this is dumb.
Yeah. No, I'll echo that because I really do enjoy just like sitting in silence or
Yeah,
listening to a podcast or something and being
yeah,
alone, right?
sure,
But there is the cost of not being able to reach the top shelf or having a companion to hang out with. Even though I do enjoy being alone too. So,
for sure.
yeah.
We both love our own space. It's probably the reason why we don't share hotel rooms anymore whenever we travel somewhere together. Um, what are some other things that you're grateful for? What else comes to mind? Obviously, a lot goes into making life doable for you and me.
Right.
What are some of the things that come to mind that you're like, wow, I couldn't live without this, so I'm really grateful for it.
Yeah, I talked about, just my situation and my family and friends and stuff, but there's a lot of accessibility stuff that I'm
Mm,
grateful for in my life. Like my van,
mm,
my wheelchairs,
yep,
power. I've talked about how important power has been because for my power chair, because I used to use manual and like my rolling shower, oh my gosh, like how much when I was 25, that made me think of like, oh my, I don't want to live in a nursing home.
sure,
But
yeah.
now I'm like, I am so grateful for that, especially when I'm traveling and getting sick of doing cartwheels to just to take a shower. And so a lot of accessibility stuff.
Yeah, same. I'm like I mentioned, grateful for the wheelchair, grateful for the walker, frustrated and hate the fact that I need it or need
Yep,
them.
absolutely.
So, can you also think of things where you get mad or that are frustrating? Not like mad at me, but I mean like you're just frustrated that this is a
Yeah.
reality that you're up against.
Totally. My mind immediately goes to the process for getting on an airplane.
Mm,
Calling the accessibility desk, checking in at the front counter, answering all the same questions 110 times, getting down there, someone's pissed because you're not there on time, and you're like, wait, I've been here for 3 hours. Just all of that. You can hear it in my voice that I'm
yeah,
getting worked up right now,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so that's one of the things that really ticks me off that comes to mind right when you say that.
Sure. So I don't disagree. I'm taking it or I'm thinking a little more internal, because
Okay.
there are gonna be things that piss people off about the airport no matter what, right? Able
Oh,
bodied
yeah.
or disabled, right? So I'm not downplaying yours. I'm just thinking, okay, what are some things that really make me mad that aren't anybody else's fault or nobody else has
Mm,
control over? And for me, what comes to mind is how many times I drop or spill my coffee. Because
yeah.
to me, coffee is gold. Like I love it, I want it, I enjoy it. And if I
Yeah.
trip and I drop it or I lose balance and I spill it and make a mess, I've had to replace my keyboard 3 times because I knock over a drink at my desk. So it's stuff like that where I'm like, it gets me really upset, and I know it's nobody's fault or
Yeah.
problem.
What along those lines, I hate that I can't button a shirt. And
Mm,
actually,
mm,
I can, but it takes 20 minutes
sure.
and I have to get really frustrated and I have to start sweating and I have to be late for the thing that
Yep.
I'm going to just because my fingers don't work well enough to button my shirt.
Yeah.
I wear snaps now and snaps are awesome. They look great and they're really easy to do. So, but buttoning a shirt with a regular button, that really gets to me.
Another one, handwriting. I
Oh,
I
yeah.
hate that I can't write a nice looking thank you note or a birthday card. Um,
Yeah.
some things I don't care about, like maybe addressing an envelope because it's going to the IRS, so I don't care what they think about my writing. But man, when it comes to just handwritten notes and cards, I think are pretty awesome and they're important to me. That's a bit of a
Mhm.
love language for me. But I hate that I can't write well or decently enough to be able to do that more often. Not even
Totally. Yeah.
not even because it looks horrible, but because it's actually painful and exhausting to write a note.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with the times. Like, I don't write that many notes because it takes forever.
Yep.
And if I do, it's a couple sentences, and I don't mind it that much until I see a note from somebody who can write well.
Yeah, yeah.
And then comparing, I'm like, okay, never mind this.
Yeah.
Like, what am I even trying
For
to
sure.
do? Yeah.
I wanna go back to your complaint about the whole airline process, and I'll throw out one that makes me mad that is totally somebody else's. Somebody else has complete control over it. I hate that hotels are unwilling to guarantee accessible rooms.
Yep.
That
Oh my
drives me nuts.
gosh.
It would not be that hard. Sure, they might lose money here and there, but in the grand scheme of things, I feel like they would earn money because people would trust them more and be willing to go with that brand.
Well, and what about just providing a service? Like, you're a hotel. This is what you do. You make reservations. Like, when I think of hotel, I don't think of like this is a thing that is making people money. No, you're providing rooms for people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess there's a lot of different aspects to it, but come on, get the core of it. Making a reservation is what you do.
When you use that word reservations, did you happen to ever see the Seinfeld episode or even clips
Mm,
about the rental
yes.
car reservation?
Yeah, I was
I know
totally
how a
thinking of that
reservation works.
when
No. Yeah, anyway. Okay. So we've established that there are things we're grateful for, but also things we get really mad and frustrated about, whether externally or internally. So Kyle, what do you do with that anger? You talk about being frustrated and sweating, trying to snap a shirt and you're late, but what do you do with that anger when it pops up?
I honestly, almost every time, I think to myself, "Oh, I can't wait to tell Sean about this," or "This is gonna be a funny conversation on the podcast." So,
Yeah.
I think like, in the grand scheme, I think of myself as I don't infuse humor into moments very well.
Mm.
However, even if I'm just doing it in my own mind, I'm thinking to myself, this is a messed up situation. This is gonna be funny. And I guess partly sometimes I relate those situations to type 2 fun. I think I've talked about this before, is when type 2 fun, type 1 is like, oh, this is fun. We're having fun in the moment. This is awesome. Type 2 is, this is miserable, but it's going to be a good story. It's going to be fun later.
Hmm.
And so I think that's how I deal with a lot of those situations.
Okay. Fair. Um I don't know if I have a method yet of dealing with it. So this is good for me to think about. But one thing I have recognized over the last several months, even, are triggers
Mhm.
on a lot of stuff, whether it be frustrating things at work, or specifically road rage, or cars. People doing things that I think are dumb and it would normally frustrate me. I've been a little more aware of what those triggers are. Sure, I still think other drivers are dumb. I just don't react maybe the way I used to.
Yeah.
So thinking about those boundaries. Okay, what?
Yeah.
Where is it safe to be a little frustrated and angry, but where does it get out of hand? And really, it's the reaction we have that probably gets
Yeah.
us to a place where it's out of hand. But I can laugh, you know, a lot
Yeah.
or find ways to infuse humor, but in the moment, that can be
Yeah.
hard because
Yeah, totally. Like holding both those things, humor and extreme frustration
yeah.
at the same time in the moment. Yeah.
I think about all
So,
those silly, funny videos we all see of people, failing hard, like they fall or they trip or they get scared. It's funny to watch because they're okay, and everybody's laughing, but for that individual, they're not
moment.
they're not laughing
Yeah.
in the moment. Sure, they might go back and look at the video and be like, "Oh my god, that was embarrassing and funny,"
Yeah.
but in the moment, it's wildly frustrating a lot of
Yeah.
times.
You mentioned boundaries. I and maybe we all need to work on this, but I'm the worst at setting boundaries. And I was listening to a podcast recently, and the guest was Macaulay Culkin.
Mm,
And they were talking about it was actually Smartless. You listen to Smartless a little bit, and he was talking about the boundaries he sets for fans, like being approached when they approach him in public. And he was saying, and I think this is gonna stick with me. He's like, I always just have to remind myself that I'm in control of the terms of this situation. I get to dictate, and if it's not working for me, like I don't have to be subject to
play
these
along.
things, right? And
Mm,
so I think that relates to a lot of different situations. Like we're in control of the boundaries.
mm,
We can stop a situation from happening or not. And um we can also, even though it's hard, you can suppress your anger and save it to express it to a friend, like on the podcast, or honestly, in the moment, sometimes I'll just use the airport as an example. I think we all know, like going through TSA. I'm I'm not saying anything, but in my mind, I'm going, "You are such a jerk. Why are you doing this? Like,
yeah,
this is the worst thing ever." But I'm not expressing that, right?
sure. Yeah.
And so, mm, um, I don't know. I don't know if that goes with
There's
boundaries or maturity or yeah.
I mean, there's probably something to be said about not adding to not escalating,
Mm,
by keeping it to yourself
yeah,
and just nodding and saying, "Okay, whatever, dude."
yeah. I think where I can see it being a problem is like nothing's gonna change, nothing's gonna get better unless you express something.
Sure.
And for me, I feel like a lot of times it's like, okay, I can either say nothing or I can get pissed.
Mm,
But that's actually not like there's a lot of room in between those two reactions
sure.
where there's probably something in there that can make progress and also be acceptable.
Yeah. You make me think of a question that I ask often is, if I get angry or if I lash out right here, is that gonna make a difference? Like, is that gonna
Yeah.
cause somebody to think, "Oh, you're right, I should be less of a jerk." And the reality of it is probably not. Like, there are other ways to maybe get a
Right.
point across. Um, because we all know TSA ain't changing because one guy in a wheelchair got mad or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Another thing I'll throw out there, avoiding or, with my anger and know what's coming. I know what the triggers are in a lot of cases, so I just don't engage. I think back to hanging stuff on the walls and putting up photos. I, doing the first one, I realized, okay, this is just gonna drive me mad, so I'm not doing it. So now I set aside things I know I want to hang or do, and I make a list or put things in a pile, knowing that I have some friends that are willing to do it for me when they come over. So instead of trying to do it once a week or every now and then and being mad about it, I just ignore it. And,
There's a
sure, there's something in some, it's like, oh, I can't wait to get that up on the wall. But I also know that I'd rather be patient about that than pick up a hammer or nail and get frustrated.
Well, and you've set up a process for it. Like, the reason you're not frustrated is because you are getting it done by setting it aside. Like,
Sure.
it's going to get done, right? This is
Eventually.
just the
Yeah.
process. Trust the process. Yeah.
Well, there's probably so much we can get into, and we could probably go on for days, especially what we talked about in the past. There are a lot of things I could complain about. We could do a whole series or a whole season on Sean's complaints. But Kyle, we've already been going for a minute, so I'd say we wrap up and just remind our listeners the core message of this brief dialogue today, and the whole point of identifying some things that we're really grateful for and some things that are really frustrating ultimately is recognizing that those two are okay to exist at the same time. Gratitude doesn't have to be a muzzle for facing reality, but also anger doesn't have to be a character flaw. Doesn't have to be something that you feel guilty or shameful about. Sure, the reactions that you take because the anger might lead you into maybe something you shouldn't have done or said, so there's some shame there, or something you might need to apologize for, but you get the idea. It's okay to be grateful and to be angry at the same time.
Yep. Yep.
I think we wrap it up, and our listeners know that have been around for 10 years or even one, that we like to close out every episode with a note of gratitude, not to be performative, but to ground ourselves in recognizing what's helpful in life or who is helpful and impactful in life. So, Kyle, I'm going to give you the chance to express your thank you note first.
Yeah, we have a small office at Farah, and it's a really great space. There's a few of us there, and it's like I said, pretty small. But also the decorations, the flooring, the paint, colors is out of date,
Mm.
and so our landlord is updating all of that right now.
Hmm.
And so we've got to move everything in the conference room and then move back and like just do cartwheels to try and get all that stuff done. Well, my office was up next, but I was out this week. I was feeling a little under the weather and didn't want to bring that in. So I worked from home a few days and I saw an email that went out. Hey, they're doing Kyle's office soon. And everyone, please come in and just help move everything and get it out so they can do that. And everyone just got in there, moved everything out. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for the team that will step in and do my stuff, even though it's a mess. They'll do it when I'm not there.
Yeah. Do you think, side note, do you think you would have been eh, helpful if you were there? Or do you think it's better that you were out all week?
No, you know what? It probably is better that I was out. I think partly I'm expressing that I'm a little bit embarrassed because,
Yeah,
well, whatever. Mm, There's a lot. I just needed to do a lot more cleanup before they got in there, and
sure.
it was in total disarray. And
Yeah,
so maybe that's part of my guilt
sure.
and my gratitude for them.
Yeah, I feel you. I only ask because, I think about sometimes where coworkers or friends are going to help me. I recognize that it's easier if I just stand in the corner, out of
Yeah,
the way,
yeah,
or
that's a good
or sit
point.
in the corner or whatever. Very cool. Thank you, Farah staff and friends. my thinking note correlates with the things we're talking about today. My dear friend Sheila, Sheila's sister Debbie, and Debbie's husband Rob, the three of them all came to my apartment recently and worked for, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours just helping me bust out a bunch of things that I either can't do on my own or maybe I just shouldn't do on my own. Robbie helped mount my TV. He drilled holes and hung a curtain rods above a window in my bedroom. So some things out of reach, some things just big and heavy and bulky. For them, it was just another chore around the house. But for me, big lifts, right? So
Yep.
things that I've just been putting off now for, I don't know, 3 months since I moved in. So I really appreciate them coming over ready to work and just busting a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff out for me.
Oh, that's nice.
Of course, we'll close with a thank you to our Dude Squad for being here today and for listening to our show and being a part of the journey. If you're enjoying the show, please like it, rate and review it, and of course, share it with a friend. You can check out our show notes at twodisableddudes.com. We love that you're here. You're the only reason why we keep doing it. So thank you. We look forward to talking at you again next week. Until then, keep living with urgency.
Thank you for listening to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast. This show is possible with your support. Visit twodisableddudes.com to stay connected.
Find us on Facebook and Instagram. And be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast player.